Schools will prepare you for a path of great academic excellence. But to triumph in life, you need to have different set of skills, which is neither taught nor form part of any school curriculum. These are mostly behavioral, related to mindset, attitude, as well as certain specific skills that you need to acquire and have it in your toolbox. I'm going to share through this video 13 things they don't teach you in school. Number one is called the entitlement temperament or attitude. This is where when you are exposed to one single ecosystem or a culture for a long period of time, you tend to believe that everyone should be on standby basis to facilitate your needs. A little bit of privileges and a little bit of connections you have internally, either through with the administration, the staff, the coaches, your parents. You find that everyone should be on your call to facilitate your needs and demands, which is not the case when you go out of the school gates. It ceases to exist. And soon you will find that you need to work towards achieving and establishing your own entitlements. Nobody is going to give it to you free. There won't be any go-to people or safety nets or babysitters for you to rely on. So there's an element of complacency that sets in over a period of time, having exposed to this kind of institutionalized process. So something which a lot of schools don't address. Number two is about selection of degrees, about making choice on your higher education, your careers. Some schools take the effort to really get you exposed to certain career guidance workshops, but the narrative remains the same. They try to push the agenda for what they offer. Right? So you need to think outside the domain of your school career and need to really figure out what are you good at, and then complement that with the qualification. It's not the other way around. So don't limit yourself, because you owe it to yourself to really, through your own due diligence, understand what's out there. Because success mantra in life is a combination of your talent as well as your qualifications. So you need to create that, bridge that gap through your own effort, which is usually neglected in schools. Number three is about networking and the ability to network. See, in schools you find that you have different cliques, gangs, friendly groups, and you always get involved in team sports, societies, clubs. Although it seems very insignificant, these are some great affiliations that you need to maintain and continue to go long after you leave school, because it can really help you late in your life. But what is happening is those affiliations are, you know your friends, you know and its structure. You know what their values are, their beliefs, view of the world, what their strengths, weaknesses. But when you go out into the society, you find there are diverse, different segments of people with holding different values. So you should be able to really open yourself to different interpretation of different values, and then create that level of emotional connection with them at a subconscious level. So number four is about the need for memory versus application. Usually school systems are set up in such a way both to evaluate as well as reward students who can recall memory or information. A student who is able to really reproduce material within time is rewarded and seen as a bright student. Imagine a situation that you are not really interested in a subject, and as a result you don't study and you get low grades. Does that mean you're bad? See, knowledge itself is not about power. It's about what I'm going to do with that. Because with internet and digitalization, you can have real-time access to information, and more accurate as well. So you find even the hirers, companies look for people who can really apply the knowledge, not just having access to that knowledge itself. So by the way, if you have a problem in remembering the longest river in Sri Lanka, or some interpretation of some ancient stone carving, don't worry about that. It has no validity outside. So the number five they don't teach you in school is how to sell. The closest you would have got as to what selling represents, probably if you're a commerce students, talking about products and good service. But here I'm not referring to that. This is about selling your personality, because everything revolves around how best you can sell yourself. It can be a selling of a proposal, to get the proposal accepted, or it's about selling yourself at a job interview, sell yourself to your boss to get a promotion, or sell yourself about your product and services if you're in an entrepreneurial journey. So everything is about selling about your personality. So you might have the best qualifications, certain aspects, certain areas, but if you don't know how to really project it, structure it and sell it so that it's, fall in line to the frequency of the buyer, then all efforts are in vain. So that's a key area that you need to really master. So number 6 is about how to negotiate or adaptation. There are certain elements here which coincide with my number 1 point, which is entitlement temperament. Because when you are being exposed to one single culture or ecosystem for a long time, you tend to believe that your narrative matters the most. There is no element of respect towards others or embracing other ideas. So you feel that over a period of time, what you offer is the best option. Others has to fall in line. So element of complacency sets in. And this is really bad and doesn't hold true outside in the open when you go into the society, because dealing with different human beings. So you need to learn to compromise, even sometimes let go or meet halfway. So there is a lot of giving in that needs to take place. So this is not something you have been used to in a school environment, especially if you are especially if you have control things. So here you find that you need to meet halfway and embrace other people's values, right? So here the words such as inclusivity, diversity is become very, very applicable, especially in organization cultures and working for a company. So this is an area which is neglected by schools, and they don't teach you that in schools. So number 7 is about soft skills. Now, what are soft skills? I like to call it human skills, because in life, the single most important element is not just qualifications and education. You got to liaise with different people. So here you need to have certain habits, rituals, especially in the organizational corporate setup. You need to show a little bit of professionalism in what you do, because that will shape your personality. These are including time management skills, your team working skills, ability to solve problems, your communication skills, and empathy, how you really connect with people. So there are skills that are usually neglected or doesn't form part of any school's curriculum. So number 8 is about critical thinking and problem solving. Unless you do certain subjects like maybe physics, where there are certain elements of creativity and analytical thinking is involved, more or less everything else we just follow routine pattern. We reproduce content, and based on trusted formulas we just get through curriculums. So what is out there, what is in need, what the recruiters look for, what the companies look for is the ability to recreate and have that creative mind with the information that you have. As I said earlier, information alone is not power. So in school, we are taught what to think, how to think, but not encouraged for us to really ask the question why we think that. So it's very important that you develop your creative ability, creative thinking, because that is what is on demand out there. Instead of just trusting formulas on preconceived notions, you need to develop your improvisation and innovative skills or mindset. And number 9 is about how to make money. Now, there are usually 4 ways of making money, but the schools are obsessively, insanely committed to really driving one agenda, which is get education, get qualified, and work for an employer. Basically, trade in your time for money. Work for someone else, or work for yourself, or as a lawyer, or a doctor, or a consultant. So there are different ways actually. For example, the second way is about selling. You can actually work as a seller or sell things, like you can have your own auto dealership or become a digital marketer or web developer. And of course, then there is the third method of where you own income generating assets, like you can rent out your apartment, your house. There's a passive income that generates from that, or you can just lease out your vehicles, or finally you can really look at engaged in investment, like private equity, VC, venture capital, or shares. So these are the areas that are kind of neglected, and so by providing these kind of different ways at an early life to students, and they might be able to really get interested in certain other areas other than working for for an employer. So an area that is severely neglected in schools as well. Number 10 is about how to face an interview. This goes on without saying that the complexities and the competitions that are out there, you need to really differentiate your capabilities over the candidates. So you can't just show up on the big day and just assume that, following a traditional way of answering the question, you get the job, because you've got to subconsciously connect with the interviewer. So this requires emotional intelligence, empathy, how to subconsciously, trigger his frequency of interest. So there are so many things that in a interview process that you need to learn, which is not taught in schools. And besides that, not only that, the resume building, how to develop a resume. There can be so many different resumes, not just one. Customize about 8 different resumes. Recruitment selection process, where to apply, how to apply. So these are areas, because all your qualification will be wasted if those information in time is not provided to the students. Number 11 is about how to start a business. Now I see a lot of schools slowly but surely, incorporating this aspect to their curriculums, but it's a long way to go. So what it does is basically, it's a very complex area. It's about business management, financial management, how to run a business model, the risk-taking appetite, the ability, the appetite. So there are so many different aspects to running a business and how to do a startup. So by providing this information, not at a higher level, but at a very basic level, what it does is that it will help students to really, when it comes to subject selections and their career choice, to select certain subjects which is aligned to his entrepreneurial goals, right? So, or visions or aspirations. So very important that you provide that kind of information to students, because some will be really talented instead of working for an employer that he might have the talent to really do very well with his own business. So this area is still neglected, but it's been introduced, so that's good signs. Number 12 is about money management. Now in school career, you don't have to worry about anything because everything is provided, right? You just have to worry about how to spend it. Everything from your meal plans to tuition to running gear, sporting gear, helmets, bats, swimwear, spikes. But in time you'll find that you need to make that transition where you have to make certain financial decisions about your life, because as you go out in after the higher education, probably in the society, when you start configuring your own blueprint for life, so inbuilt and having certain seeds planted early in life in terms of financial management is very important. I'm not talking about deep, very in-depth financial analysis, kind of just basic financial literacy when it comes to managing your income flows, what the incomes are, what the expenses are, stay within what is affordable to you, because you find that over a period of time that you may not be able to rely on the support systems that you used to have in your school life. So you need to have a little bit of discipline and whole loads of common sense, and that's all what is required to have that basic knowledge about how to managing your expenses and income. So number 13 and the final point is the ability to take risk, or your risk appetite, an area which is neglected by schools. And when we are really taught not to take risks, or that is bad, to the extent that is polarized, right or wrong. But you can't simply compare the risks that you are exposed to in school to the risks that we are going to face in real life. And planting seeds of risk at early life in students is very important. I'm not talking about risk avoidance or how to mitigate, but risk management. I mean, you need to make sure that students are exposed to this, because that will develop and plant the seeds for your entrepreneurial journey, because entrepreneurship is about risk taking. So you deprive your students if you don't teach those things and don't allow them to color outside the lines. They will never learn what mistakes are, and they will fear mistakes and they will try to avoid it. So overcoming mistakes, learning from them, overcoming limiting beliefs is an absolute imperative that you need to include in your curriculums. So there you go. So in a nutshell, the takeout is that when students are exposed to institutionalized ecosystem for a long time, they tend to believe that the interactions the associations, the networking capabilities, how things are done in school for about 8-10 years is a representation of what's out there in the society. So as they try to gradually transition into the society, you will find that when they try to replicate those moments, that they have been misinformed or misdirected. So, and then we are convinced or led to believe that our path to success is very linear. You get qualified, get a great job, and the path to success will be unveiled in front of you on a red carpet. It doesn't work like that in society, because in life, unlike in schools where everybody is on the similar time scale, what I meant by that is, for example, if you study for exam, everyone studies at the same time. And then for a sport or a particular game, everyone goes to practice at the same time. And the outcome, if it is an exam, if the results are great, constitutes as the achievement, or in a sport, if the game or the outcome of the game constitutes as success or achievement, everyone comes to the finishing line at the same time. But in real life, you find that everyone has their own different timelines. Some will start early, figure out what they want to do in their life early, and they'll go to the finish line very late or even earlier than others. Some will have a late start. They will try to figure out, they probably will take time to figure out what they want their life to do with their life, and they will achieve their success or goals or meet the finish line maybe earlier than others or maybe late. Besides, what's a finish line, a goal, aspiration is also so blurry. It's multidimensional and it is non-linear. So you find that also, unlike in life, in school, you first get the lesson and then the test. But in life, you find that you first get the test and the lessons emerge after that. But one thing for sure, that you won't be tested on your abilities to do MCQs or multiple choice question. In life, you'll be tested on your abilities to come up with multiple choices to a single problem. And you find that there won't be anyone with a cane in his or her hand running behind you, driving you. No, there won't be anyone to keep the alarm clock and wake you up in the morning. The ownership and accountability sits with you. And soon you will run out all the support system. And blaming all the stakeholders, including parents, will have an expiry date. You will become the choices you make. Just ensure you make them right.